This is going to be a spoiler review for the film Eddington. I was able to watch it again, and I wanted to, go over some of the stuff that happens in the movie. So if you haven't seen Eddington, I suggest you watch it first, or bookmark this video for later. So Eddington is the fourth film from director Ari Aster. He's done 2 horror films that people kind of like or dislike. Hereditary is really good. I like Midsommar personally, even though it's kind of just like a Wicker Man redux. And then I didn't like Beau is Afraid. It just swung for the fences a little bit too hard there. But Eddington is a really weird little film. It's a drama, it's a Western. It encompasses many different topics, from secret pedophile cabals to COVID conspiracies. There's a little bit of emasculation in there, which is something... terrible parents is another common theme of Ari Aster, because if you've seen Hereditary or Midsommar or even Beau is Afraid, parental trauma is definitely one of the core themes he likes to have in his movies, and this film's no different. And some of the characters are definitely underutilized, like Austin Butler's Vernon character. But yeah, the movie is very ambitious, and it's one of those films, though, that's hard to juggle, because it's hard to recommend this film without giving it away. I literally had to drag my friend to the theater to watch it. But this movie is known as the COVID movie because the trailers kind of hide what the movie's really about. The first, maybe, I want to say, hour to an hour and a half is all like petty, drama stuff, building up the characters during the pandemic in a small town called Eddington. And there's a battle between Joe Cross, the sheriff, and Ted Garcia, the mayor. They have some history together, and they like to take pot shots at each other. But after their sort of little battle of wills comes to an end, the movie turns into a super violent sort of action movie, I guess, but also not just action movie. It sort of escalates because of the actions of the characters. Mainly, I really liked how the little side characters definitely build up some of the other characters. Obviously, we're focusing on Joe Cross, and I really liked the emasculation of his character. Really, Joe Cross is a character. Joaquin Phoenix is so good at playing like little wormy characters. If you've seen Gladiator, if you've seen Joker, obviously Joker 2, you were never really there. Here, he's not really emasculated in that movie. He's kind of big and bulky in that film, but he's got trauma of some kind in there. But he's really good at playing like vulnerable, sort of broken, like weird characters. He really likes to go for those sort of even signs a little bit. So Sheriff Joe Cross, he has this thing where he lets his mother-in-law sort of influence him because his father-in-law used to be the sheriff, and that's why he's in his sort of this business. And there seems to be a sort of common theme of fathers not being terrible, but just we find out later in the film that Louise's father abused her, and Joe's mother-in-law and himself, they don't believe it, so they sort of think that Ted Garcia did something, and they like to use that as an excuse. It's almost like trying to gaslight yourself. Like, you know the truth, but you'd rather pretend not to know the truth. Like if you catch your wife cheating and you've caught her dead to rights, but then he or she twists it a little bit to be like, hey, I actually didn't cheat, okay? You're being weird, and like it was a mistake, and they flip something on you, and you go sure, because you don't want to like rustle any feathers or anything like that. So I really liked that aspect of the parental trauma. For example, Ted Garcia, his wife left him, and they don't explain why, but he likes to not bully his son Eric, but he like keeps him on a tight leash because Eric represents him and the mayor. And there's also, obviously, Louise's father abused her, terrible. Vernon's father sold him off too, so that's another common theme. The only one who seems to have their father is Brian, but when he tries to showcase his new ideology of being anti-racist, his dad just laughs in his face and goes, "What the hell are you talking about, man? You're stupid," and shuts him down immediately. Which is a comedic, but it's also in theme. It's not just randomly thrown in there as a laugh. It's probably one of the biggest laughs of the movie. But yeah, a lot of another character is Mike. He is one of the deputies, and his father also was sheriff before Louise's father, or before Joe was a sheriff anyway. So there seems to be a current theme of fathers and sons, or fathers and daughters included in there, which I really liked. Another thing I didn't notice in the first viewing is that, what's her name? Louise, she makes these weird little plushies, and they're obviously an outlet for her trauma. And no one buys them, so Joe makes his people buy them, and then he pays them back. But Vernon has his own plushie. It's like a snake with a sword being cut to it. So I really like, I didn't notice it the first time. I thought Louise made that one, but it turns out, or wait, maybe she did make that one, and they made another one when Vernon gets with her. So either way, it's a cool like little thing in the background you don't notice, but definitely Louise, it goes to showcase her difference of trauma, right? She's making these weird little doll characters as a way to cope, and then either she designs a new one, or she designs a new one for Vernon, but she ends up getting pregnant with him too, so she was able to unpack her father's abuse really with the help of this other man, and Joe doesn't like that at all, and he can't really do anything, so he gets emasculated in that way too. So he decides to make up that Ted raped her, and he just throws that out there on a live stream, on a video on Facebook, and then it gets him defeated, and we get the best scene in the movie for me, the Katy Perry scene. That scene, the way it's shot, the way it builds up, when they repeat the song, it's her saying, "You don't have to feel like a waste of space." Pitch perfectly used. That's how you use a song. A lot of filmmakers just play a song to try to force or invoke a mood. That song is absolutely perfect for that scene. It ends perfectly with him walking away with his tail between his legs and then losing all of his campaign crap on top of his vehicle. Another aspect I really liked was Brian. Brian is a teenager who definitely likes this girl named Sarah, but he doesn't know how to talk to her, so he keeps asking his friend Eric, and Eric likes her too, and keeps sabotaging him and kind of like won't help him get her. So Brian decides to just pretend that he likes whatever she's into on her Instagram or whatever book she's holding, to try to just pretend and just be near her, and it doesn't work. And by the end of the movie, he live streams himself shooting an Antifa terrorist and saving the mayor, Sheriff Joe Cross. And at the end, we get a little montage of him becoming like, switching sides and becoming like a pro-gun nut sort of influencer, podcaster, new girl instead. He goes wherever the opportunity lies. And that's definitely another mini theme of the film. When Ted Garcia and his son are violently killed by Joe, his friend Warren, the bearded guy, he's doing a vigil and saying, like, we're going to continue with the project. We have to do it in their name, or their deaths will mean nothing. There's a lot of opportunists in this film, like Vernon using his past as a sort of quasi-cult leader to sort of recruit people with trauma. But there's also Warren, there's also Brian, anyone who can use, some people just like to use certain events for their opportunity when someone dies or something, or there's a lot of fake scams out there where people lie about things to get crowdfunding and prey on people's sympathy and pity. Another aspect I liked is Guy. He is one of the deputies. He gets blown up by Antifa, and he doesn't get anything. After his death, nothing. The native fellow that has been dogging Joe Cross gets a mural on a thing. Everyone else seems to get their accolades, but not Guy. There's probably not enough of him left for a burial. So that just gets swept under the rug, which is funny. And I love the escalation of the different little mini riots. First, there's a protest of just 10 teenagers wannabe, and then it grows to something bigger. And but they also don't do anything with the homeless man. He gets shot and killed and get taken away. And also maybe Joe would have been able to defeat all the Antifa terrorists if he didn't have COVID and asthma, because we know now that it's a lung thing, it hurts you a lot. But also another aspect I really enjoyed was the way the action scenes were shot. After the explosion by his house, Joe comes back, he reloads the ammo, they're trying to kill him, and he runs back to town where he has an asthma attack. He doesn't have any more medicine left, so he breaks into a gun shop and takes out an M60, which would turn the battle, but you don't get to see anything from anyone else's perspective. It's just him. The camera's following him. There's a real immersion to this with lots of long takes. He's just basically shooting at muzzle flash for the whole scene. He doesn't know if he's killing them all, or because we don't. That's kind of how it is when you're in the middle of a gun battle at night, especially. You don't know who you're hitting. Your enemies won't always shout and go like, "Ah, you got me," and then. So you don't know how many attackers he has at the end of the movie, and it seems at the end he was able to take out most of them except for one. But the way it's shot is just so immersive. I really like the camera work for that especially. The denouement was weird too. I like the reversal, because at the beginning of the film, Joe's mother-in-law is living with them and he doesn't like it, but there's a pandemic so he can't send her away. By the end of the movie, it's reversed. Now he's the invalid being taken care of her and a caretaker. So that's a nice little swap there. You know, one of the rules of screenwriting is you have to do the opposite of what you do at the beginning if you want the story to come full circle. So that's included too. Not sure if I have anything else to say about the movie. It's definitely going to be in my top 10 for sure. But it's also difficult to recommend this film because you have to get through like an hour of just characters bickering and world building and all this stuff before it goes off the rails. And I got that experience too, going into this movie not really sure what's going to happen. And then when it does happen, it's like, whoa, you're not expecting half the stuff. The most surprising stuff being the Joe killing the mayor and the mayor's son, trying to pin it on Michael. And then, of course, blaming it on Antifa, and then the Antifa showing up, and then all of the explosions and deaths that happen after that. It definitely escalates into a sort of bloodbath. But yeah, I really like the ambition of the storytelling. It definitely swung for the fences, and for me, it hit because it's definitely something weird and quirky and original. I could never see another director doing something similar like this. Definitely enjoyed, and that's my spoiler review of Eddington.